James Kaufman, World News Report today, October 11th, 2024. God bless you and yours, no matter where you are in the world. Please subscribe, give us a thumbs up, ring that bell for critical future updates. Russia's U.S. ambassador issues nuclear war warning and returns to Moscow. Russia's outgoing U.S. ambassador issues chilling warning. America will face a head-on collision with a nuclear power if it allows Ukraine to fire U.S. long-range missiles into Russia. Outgoing Ambassador Anatoly Antonov said that U.S.-Russian relations are already at arguably the lowest point in their history and will plunge into an uncontrollable nosedive if Ukraine is given the go-ahead to use long-range missiles. This was a stark warning as he prepared to return to Moscow after 7 years as Vladimir Putin's top man in Washington. Yesterday, Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky met with Keir Starmer to discuss the 2.5-year war. Last month, Zelensky told President Biden that firing U.S. ATACMS missiles deep into Russian territory could break the deadlock. Russia's President Putin said it would finally constitute direct NATO involvement. Antonov, who is leaving Washington after 7 years as ambassador, said, quote, "America will not be able to sit out across the ocean. A global nuclear catastrophe would affect every nation." U.S. missiles were first used against Russian forces in Ukraine in early April, but the U.S. has still to announce a decision on whether it will allow Kiev to fire them over the border. In recent weeks, Russia has seized a number of Ukrainian villages while Ukraine carried out a cross-border raid that seized 500 square miles of Russian territory. Antonov told Newsweek, quote, "Project Ukraine is dragging American politicians only further into an abyss from which it is increasingly difficult to get out of. There have been no hints about stopping the senseless flow of weapons to Ukraine at the expense of U.S. taxpayers. Washington is continuing a dangerous discussion about the possibility of giving Ukraine the permission to strike deep into Russian territory with Western long-range missiles." Antonov claimed that Russia's warning had been met with silence and smirks in the West. He added, quote, "In America, there is an unwillingness to recognize that over the past few decades, the West, led by Washington, has been rejecting Moscow's outstretched hand of cooperation again and again. Year after year, it has been militarily exploiting European territory, conducting waves of NATO expansion to the east. It has organized color revolutions and anti-constitutional coups, increasingly encircling Russia in a hostile ring, and as the decisive battering ram, it chose Ukraine." He continued, "All of this only confirms that the political elites have set themselves the task not to just defeat Russia, but to preserve the old world order based on the rules favorable to NATO countries. We want to change this obviously outdated state of affairs. We want our security interests to be taken into account. Russia and Ukraine appear locked in a grinding stalemate as the conflict heads towards its 4th year. Both countries touting their own irreconcilable peace plans. Kiev has demanded the withdrawal of Russian troops from Crimea, other occupied areas, and from the eastern Donbass region, which has been controlled by Russian separatists since 2014. Putin has demanded Ukraine give up the Crimea Peninsula and Donbass and abandon its bid for NATO membership as a prerequisite to any peace talks. So, ladies and gentlemen, it appears that we're headed into a nuclear conflict with Russia. God bless you and yours. Please share, subscribe, and always remember that anything's possible. in Bizarro World.